You think that's right? Well, you know, it's
Okay.
my sleeper. All right, girls.
Okay, I honor y'all for watching here on YouTube at Blooming Light at Blooming's Tribe. And this always eventually happens. This happens eventually all the time, okay? I do have a share here, and my disclaimers for social media is that I am not in partnership with the content creators in which I'm sharing. In fact, I am not a plagiarist, so I'm going to pay it forward. And make sure to mention that these are other content creators here. Sometimes I'll mention their names, other times I won't. And the only reason why I won't mention it is not because I'm not trying to give them credit. I won't mention it because in some cases I am attempting to allow synchronicity and alignment. So if someone is really in alignment with it, they will somehow align and locate that information. It just depends on the type of content in which I'm sharing, okay? But I'm not a plagiarist, okay? That's a karmic vibe. Just saying, I'm not trying to say it in a snooty way. I'm just simply saying that's not my vibe. I'm not here trying to get likes, subscribes, shares, follows, coins, monetization, or credit. This is me sharing my life, sharing what's useful and informational for me, and paying it forward to the collective of folks out there at some point in this universe who resonate or digs my vibe, okay? And when they are ready, they will align and manifest hearing the information from my platform, okay? So viewer discretion is advised, informational purposes only. Okay, the title says that this happens all the time, eventually. We have a share. Now, here's my personal disclaimer: continue to move forward, continue to be as present as you can be, working on our energy, our frequency, and all the things that we can to ground into our now moment and reality. And that's going to always be the goal because that's what they're trying to take from you. But what I'm about to say may very well encourage someone. Okay, and I'm not trying to give false hope, false light, false truth. That's why I said viewer discretion is advised. The reason why I'm saying eventually, because it's something I'm figuring out on my own journey. That though things don't always immediately happen when you would prefer or when you think it's going to happen, sometimes, maybe not all the time, because sometimes the bad guys, I'm gonna say it this way: sometimes the bad guys, there's an appearance of them winning. Let's just say it like that. I have to specify because corruption is a real thing. All we have to do is look in society. We don't have to be deep or spiritual or religious to see that. It doesn't even matter what side of the political bench that we are on, if we're on one or the other or neither. All you have to do is to know that corruption, I'm gonna keep saying an appearance of winning. Okay, I have to say it like that because it's coming with a bite, nigga. Uh-oh, here we go. Mm. Especially when certain ones do what they gotta do. When certain ones do what the fuck they gotta do, it's a game changer, baby. It's a game changer. The reason why corruption thrives is because they're bullies. And the reason why bullies thrive is because most people can be paid for, they can be purchased. But when that changes in incidences, because it's not going to always change, in situations and incidences in which it does change, and a person in power can't be purchased, it is a game changer. When a person in power can't be purchased by dangling sparkly things, when they cannot be purchased or blackmailed by their own, nefarious skeletons in their thousands of closets, when a Tesla is not going to be enough, when they already got their own Tesla, you're not going to wave no Tesla in front of them to convince them to be a sorry nigga, falling motherfuckers all over the universe, all over United States of America, and you know what I'm saying, driving up in Starbucks, and you know what I'm saying, When, hear me, power, when it's a game changer, when somebody that's intelligent, quiet, in a position of power, cannot be bribed, blackmailed, or bullied. This is when there's a beginning of the domino effect of corruption, at least in that incidence. I didn't say all. I'm going to say in that incidence starts to. It's the beginning. This is what's happening for some of you whenever you finally click on this video. But remember what I said at the beginning. A part of the trick is to keep us consumed. And I'm guilty like everybody else because, well, we bleed, right? Okay. Keep us consumed with vengeance. Keep our attention out of our bodies. Keep us half-embodied. Anything but repairing ourselves properly. Anything but learning about our biofield and how to get it unporous or smoothing out so that we're not subject, because that's a part of, yeah, you're going to figure this out just like I did. It's a part of your defense, which is why they always want you porous, which is why they're always trying to figure out a way to dysregulate you to begin with. So once you subject to a toxic environment, and toxic is not always in the sense of gunshots, you know, because we all have our images of what is a toxic environment, okay? Broaden your perspective even on that. Inhumane and hospitable living conditions and spaces. Once you subject to abuse, whether that is emotional, mental, verbal, spiritual, financial, in other words, exploitation. Okay. And when they can't, let me stay focused because I'm getting off track. Because I'm gonna tell you, y'all gonna learn the game. You're gonna learn the game. You're gonna learn the game. If they can't get you in an abusive relationship because you stop dealing with motherfuckers, because that's a favorite ticket. Honey pot. Get you in some kind of fake love bomb, then certainly they're gone. And you're supposed to care and be all just distraught bitch and just fucked up, you know? And when that no longer works, I'm mind my son. He's enjoying. Okay, he's enjoying his. He likes game shows. Anyway. That's not mine, Mom. Okay, son. So when they can't get the collective there anymore, they're gonna use their children. This is for those of you who have children. They're gonna use your children and your animals. Okay? And that's gonna be interesting when you figure that out. Boy, they got something to worry about. They got something to worry about, niggas. Because if they, listen, if they're exploiting your, because they, listen, these people ain't got no moral compass whatsoever. By now, you figured this out. Because a moral compass implies that there's something inside of their own. It's not something that needs to be written in a leather-bound book, and it's not something that a lawyer, a judge, or a police officer has to walk around flashing lights to make sure that they do. When someone has a moral compass, it's theirs. It's internal. It is internal. It doesn't matter if paparazzi is there. It doesn't matter if they're going to get likes, shares, follows, subscribes, clicks, business, revenue or not. It's internal. It's theirs, dear. And it's what governs them. So they prove they don't have a moral compass by their conduct. So you yourself figure out over time that these individuals, these groups, these stalkers, these sub-sectors and subgroups, and you know, you discover that they don't have they don't fucking have no moral compass. They don't fucking have no moral compass. The Price is Right. That should be on a t-shirt. That should be on their Tesla. That should be on their Mini Cooper. That should be on their Winnebago.
Yeah.
The Price is Right. The Price is Right. This Bible that I carry, I'll put in the trash for you. Oh. If the price is right, I will disregard everything that I will stand in a court of law and raise my hand if they still doing that shit, bitch, which I don't even, anyways, bitch. If the price is right, I'll sell my own kid shit. If the price is right, if the price is right,
Yet. Not yet.
yeah. Now, you were right, collective. Stay present.
Dude.
But also, I'm going to let you know, don't beat yourself up
What?
as you oscillate
Really?
because you bleed.
Oh, could you do that to that pink girl?
It's normal.
Go there, eh?
This is something that we're working on and we're mastering that in the name of not in some religiosity or Puritarian or even not in some grandiose, egotistical. It's in the name of sovereignty of our mind, body, and soul. This is real liberation process of getting liberated from corruption. Process.
Catch 21.
Because your abuser, they still win even when it's over for a while, especially when it's more pervasive. But we gonna change that, ain't we? In fact, we're changing it as I'm speaking, aren't we? And we're gonna triage and do some practical things. We're no longer gonna be triaging. Sorry, mother. Okay, come back. See? Oh shit. Okay, come on. We are triaging ourselves instead of being someone else's triage.
Wow.
We're gonna attend. We're attending to the things we can attend to in every now moment. So that's something I want you to hold as you listen to this video. Hold that.
That pink girl from
Okay.
21 for you to know, Larry.
I'll say he's feeling some kind of way about his show.
I ain't gonna never learn.
Here we go.
Just pulled your abuser aside and asked a question they never expected to hear. Do you know who you hurt? The room went quiet. Their smile froze. Because for the first time in their career, someone with real influence is connecting the dots. And your name just came up in a conversation they weren't ready for. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the shift that happens.
All right, give me a second. Let me finish this up on this, okay?
Forget one critical rule.
Okay, in a minute.
Everyone is always being watched by someone higher. And right now,
Okay, my
someone at the
apologies.
top is asking questions your abuser
Third
can't
time,
dodge,
incorrect. Sorry.
deflect,
Okay, let me
or
pause, y'all,
charm
so I
their
can
way out of.
assist my son here one
The
second.
pattern they was invisible is now glowing under a spotlight they didn't see coming. They thought they controlled the narrative. They thought their reputation was untouchable. And they thought the people who mattered would never care enough to investigate what really happened behind closed doors. But reputations built on silence don't survive scrutiny. And scrutiny just walked into the room wearing a suit that doesn't smile for games. If this message is hitting you right now, don't scroll yet. Hit that like button. Drop a 77 in the comments if you can feel the shift already happening. And subscribe, because what I'm about to break down will show you exactly how the tables turn when someone with real power stops pretending not to notice. Let's unpack this step by step. Here's what most people don't understand about professional environments, institutional systems, and power dynamics. There's always someone higher watching. Always. Your abuser might have fooled their peers, charmed their immediate circle, and controlled the optics in their department. But they forgot something critical. The people at the very top didn't get there by being blind to patterns. While your abuser was busy managing their image and silencing dissent, someone with actual authority was quietly taking notes. Not because they cared about you specifically at first, but because patterns of behavior create organizational risk, and risk gets attention. Your abuser thought they were untouchable because no one challenged them directly. But silence from below doesn't mean approval from above. The moment someone with decision-making power starts asking, who exactly did they target? What happened to that person afterward? Why does this keep happening around them? The entire game changes. This isn't about justice in some cosmic sense. This is about institutional self-preservation. Organizations protect their interests, and your abuser just became a liability. What makes this moment so devastating for them is the timing. They're not being confronted during the abuse. They're being confronted after they thought they'd gotten away with it. After they stopped thinking about you. After they moved on to new targets, new projects, new performances. And now someone who controls their future is calmly asking questions that have only one honest answer. And honesty is the one thing they've avoided this entire time. Your abuser's entire professional identity was constructed on a foundation of unspoken agreements. The agreement that you wouldn't speak up. The agreement that you'd disappear quietly. The agreement that no one important would ever connect their success to your suffering. They climbed higher while you were pushed lower, and they assumed that distance made them safe. But here's the flaw in their strategy. Silence isn't permanent. It's pressure building in a sealed container. And every container has a breaking point. Maybe you didn't break it yourself. Maybe you never said a word publicly, but someone else noticed. Someone else asked the right question at the right time. Someone else saw the gap between their polished image and the trail of damage they left behind. Now that person with influence is asking your abuser directly, what happened with that employee, that colleague, that project lead who left suddenly? And your abuser has two choices, lie and risk being caught later, or tell a version of the truth that exposes their behavior. Neither option protects them anymore. The silence they weaponized against you just became the trap they're caught in. The person asking these questions isn't coming from anger or personal vendetta. They're coming from a place of calculated assessment. They're measuring risk. They're evaluating liability. They're determining whether your abuser is worth the institutional cost of keeping them around. And every hesitation, Every deflection,
So this about to get
every
very
attempt to
interesting.
rewrite history just adds weight to the scale tipping against them. Reputations aren't built in isolation. They're built on the backs of other people's labor, silence, and sacrifice. Your abusers' glowing reviews, their promotions, their accolades. None of that happened in a vacuum. It happened because you absorbed the chaos they created. You covered their mistakes. You stayed quiet when they took credit. You made them look functional when they were falling
Crazy as
apart.
hell.
They borrowed credibility from your competence and your silence. And now someone at the top is auditing the accounts. They're looking at your abuser's track record, not as a highlight reel, but as a timeline. And timelines reveal patterns.
That's where you have to look.
Patterns reveal truth. The truth is your abuser only succeeded when certain people were around to manage the fallout. And when those people left, the cracks started showing. The person asking questions now has access to information your abuser thought was buried. Performance reviews, exit interviews, project failures that were quietly reassigned. They're not just hearing your abuser's side anymore. They're hearing everyone's side. And the story doesn't match.
It doesn't.
When 5 different people describe the same behavioral pattern, and only one person denies it,
it's time to
credibility
say,
shifts
bitch,
fast.
you need to look at the
Your
bitch.
abuser thought their
Because,
charm would carry them forever. But charm has a shelf life in professional environments. Eventually results matter. Culture matters. Retention matters. And when someone with authority starts tallying the cost of keeping your abuser employed, the turnover, the HR complaints, the dropped projects, the reputation risk, the math stops adding up in their favor. Here's the part your abuser never calculated. You weren't their only target. You were just one in a series. And patterns don't stay hidden forever. While they were busy convincing themselves each situation was isolated, someone at the top started seeing the commonalities. Different people, different departments, same behavioral outcomes. That's not coincidence. That's a signature. The person asking questions now has compared notes. They've spoken to others who left quietly, transferred departments, or burned out under your abuser's management. What your abuser dismissed as personality clashes or performance issues, someone else is recognizing as a systematic problem. And systematic problems require systematic solutions. Your abuser is about to become the solution. What makes this so lethal is that your abuser can't deny the pattern without calling everyone else liars. They can discredit one person. They can spin 2 situations. But when the number climbs to 5, 7, 10 people who all describe the same manipulation, the same gaslighting, the same targeted cruelty, their credibility collapses entirely. They're not dealing with your word against theirs anymore. They're dealing with evidence. The moment someone in power recognizes that your abuser isn't an asset with occasional interpersonal friction, but a recurring liability that damages culture and talent retention,
because they whole little
everything
business
shifts.
tends to be on
The
fire.
cost-benefit analysis flips. Your abuser goes
All
from
for
protected to
protecting
expendable.
the wrong bitch.
And that shift happens faster than they can prepare for because they never saw it coming. They were too busy performing to notice they were being observed. When someone at the top asks your abuser, what happened with this person? Watch what they do. They don't take responsibility. They don't acknowledge complexity.
They do not.
They immediately launch into a defensive script they've perfected over
time.
years.
Yes, sir.
They rewrite history.
Yes, sir.
They diminish your competence. Or they paint themselves as the reasonable one dealing with a difficult employee.
Oh, they're
But here's
just
the
a
trap.
bitch.
The person asking the question has already heard this exact script from
1,000
them
times
before.
over.
Different name, same story. And repetition reveals dishonesty. When someone blames every person who left under their management, every colleague who transferred, Every subordinate who burned out, the common denominator becomes obvious.
Something wrong
It's
with
not
this
all
hole.
those people.
Something wrong
It's the
with
one
this mix.
person they all had to deal with. Your abuser's defense strategy just became their confession. Every time they try to discredit you, they're revealing their tactics.
Correct.
Every time they minimize what happened, they're admitting something happened.
Correct.
Every time they deflect responsibility, they're confirming they have something
To
to
do
be
with it.
responsible for.
Correct.
The person listening isn't naive.
Nope.
They're trained to spot manipulation.
Correct.
And your abuser just demonstrated it in real time. What's even more damaging is this. The moment your abuser tries to rewrite your history to protect themselves, they're gambling that no one will verify the story. But people do verify now. The person at the top will pull records, talk to witnesses, check
All in
timelines.
silence. They
When
don't
your
even know
abuser's
it ever
version
happened.
doesn't match the documented reality, they don't just look bad.
So it's
They
in
look
silence.
dishonest. And dishonesty in professional settings is a fireable offense. The question that destroys your abuser isn't about you specifically. It's broader and more damaging.
It is.
Why do we keep losing talented people around this
Oh, and
person?
lieutenants.
That's the question that shifts the entire narrative. Because now it's not about personality conflicts. It's about organizational bleeding. And bleeding costs money, reputation, and stability. The person asking this question has noticed a pattern that your abuser thought was invisible. Every time a competent, high-performing individual works under or alongside your abuser,
Something
they
happens to them.
leave,
Huh?
they transfer, they quit, they burn out, and the official reasons given never quite explain the consistency. So someone with authority started digging deeper, and the
Is this a
deeper they
petty
dig,
bitch?
the clearer
What's
your
it?
abuser's role
Not
becomes.
competent at their
Your
job.
abuser will try to
Hiding
spin
behind
this
their
as
superiors for
coincidence, as
sellouts that's
mismatched
doing shit for 'em.
personalities, as people being too sensitive for high-pressure environments. But the person asking the questions isn't listening to excuses anymore. They're looking at turnover data,
Because that's a
exit
real
interview
thing. They
patterns,
better start
and the
paying attention to that
cost
shit.
of
They better start.
constantly
They better
rehiring
fucking
and
start.
retraining
Instead of being lazy
talent.
and worrying about
And
nothing.
that cost has a name attached to it now. Your abuser's name.
Correct, because that's the common
What
denominator.
makes this particularly devastating is that your abuser can't defend against math. They can
Exactly.
spin narratives,
Yes, they can.
manipulate emotions, and
Yes, they can.
rewrite individual stories.
Sure.
But they can't explain why retention rates drop
Under
specifically
their
in
watch.
their orbit. They can't explain why talented people thrive everywhere except
Except for
under
with
their
they whole
management.
ass.
They can't explain why the pattern only breaks when they're removed from the equation. Your abuser had allies, people who covered for them, dismissed complaints, or looked the other way. Those alliances felt permanent to them. But alliances in professional settings are always conditional.
Aren't
They
they?
last as long as the benefits outweigh the costs.
I talk about
And
that.
someone at the
See?
top
It
just
ain't just me.
recalculated the math.
Cost to
The people who
benefit
protected
rich.
your abuser did so because it was easier than confronting them.
Exactly.
And it's because they shared similar behaviors, or
Correct.
because they benefited from the chaos your abuser created. But protection evaporates when liability becomes visible. The moment someone with real authority starts asking questions, those allies get quiet, fast. They
Because
distance
now
themselves.
it's like, because now
They
my
suddenly
shit.
remember never voiced before. Your abuser
I'm
is
trying to do
about
my
to
job.
experience
I'm trying to do
isolation they never anticipated. The same people who laughed at their jokes, ignored their behavior, and enabled their tactics are now pretending they barely know them.
Wow.
Because when institutional accountability arrives,
Ain't nobody
everyone
trying to-
scrambles to the right side of the line. And your abuser is standing on the wrong side, alone. What's even
Eventually.
more brutal is this. The people who protected your abuser will now provide evidence against them to protect themselves.
It's themselves.
They'll
See?
share
You see it?
emails,
It's
you
still,
confirm meetings,
that's crazy.
verify timelines,
That's
Not because they
crazy.
suddenly grew a conscience, but because they're saving their own
Their own fucking
careers.
asses.
Your abuser
Exactly.
thought loyalty was guaranteed.
Told
But
y'all.
loyalty
Y'all
in
don't see this
toxic
play out.
systems is just self-interest, wearing a friendly mask.
Mm-hmm.
And self-interest just switched sides.
Mm-hmm.
You never had to fight back publicly. You never had to expose them dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
You never had to build a case or gather evidence. All you had to do was survive and move forward. Because systems eventually audit themselves. Organizations
He
eventually
said
clean house.
survive and move
And people who abuse
forward.
power eventually run out of people willing to absorb the damage. Time is the most patient investigator. While your abuser was celebrating their escape from consequences,
Sure they are. Told y'all that.
time was quietly compiling the pattern. Every month that passed added another data point. Another person who left. Another complaint filed
Other
and
people
dismissed.
dropped off.
Another project that failed for reasons that were never fully explained. And now someone with authority is reviewing all of it at once. Your abuser thought your silence meant victory. But your silence was just you refusing to play their game, while the larger system caught up. You weren't weak for not fighting back immediately. You were strategic. You removed yourself from their chaos and let natural consequences take their course. And natural consequences always arrive. They just don't arrive on your timeline. They arrive on reality's timeline. Now your abuser is facing questions they can't answer, scrutiny they can't avoid, and consequences they can't
Yeah, because why
charm
was
their
somebody
way
that was
out of.
consistent for 3 years all
Not
of a sudden
because
just
you
resign?
orchestrated it, but because their
Why would they do
behavior
that?
created inevitable outcomes. You didn't need revenge. You needed distance and time.
Distance.
And both just delivered exactly what you never had to ask for. Here's what happens when someone at the top starts asking questions.
The right questions.
Everything gets reviewed. Not
That
just
makes everything.
recent behavior.
Yeah, that makes.
Everything.
See what they did?
Projects
That
from
means
3
now
years ago.
everything is
Emails
gonna
from
go
5
under.
years ago.
Dang.
Complaints that were dismissed or buried.
See what they did?
Your abuser thought the past was dead. But in professional environments, the past is archived. And archives get opened during audits. The person asking questions now has access to records your abuser forgot existed. Documentation they thought was destroyed. Complaints they assumed were dismissed permanently. Witnesses they thought had moved on and forgotten. But people don't forget abuse. They just stop talking about it until someone safe asks. Your abuser is about to discover that every person they hurt, dismissed, silenced, is a potential witness. And when someone with authority reaches out and says, "We're reviewing this person's history. Can you tell us what you experienced?" People talk,
Yes, they do.
not out of revenge, out of relief. Relief that someone finally cares. Relief that their experience finally matters.
Get heard, because
Relief
until then
that
it
they're not
doesn't.
alone. What destroys your abuser isn't one dramatic revelation. It's the accumulation of a dozen quiet confirmations. A dozen people saying, "Yes, that happened to me too." A dozen timelines that align.
So
A
what's
dozen
the common
patterns that
denominator? So this
match.
person ain't crazy
Your
then, huh?
abuser can't fight 12 identical stories. They can't discredit 12 separate witnesses. They
Different
can't
backgrounds.
rewrite 12 different histories. The truth just became too heavy to bury. You don't have to do anything now. The process is in motion without your involvement. Someone at the top is making decisions based on risk assessment, organizational health, and long-term
Yeah,
stability.
this is business.
Your abuser's fate isn't
I'm gonna pause
in
on
your...
that. It's business. I talked on another video and I said, this is maybe a few days ago, possibly a week ago, and I said, they're not good businessmen, because I was coming from the angle of a businessman or a businesswoman. Whoever they're referencing in this video is people who are good businessmen. the top. I'm talking about not the people that was involved with the corruption, but when it gets to the top, and they are now looking, it's forcing them to look at things. It's because they are good business people. Because at the end of the day, it's this energy of are you a liability? Because sometimes the cost to benefit ratio is not as obvious. What gets the delay here is because when there's money and revenue being generated, it's usually a blindsider for a long time. It's like, okay, we're generating money. But then when there's um and yeah. So far I know that the only people who have come on live has been karmic. So I wasn't addressing them. When any of you out there that's my legit viewers, followers, subscribers, just take this information and know that, and keep doing what you can to triage you and your children's life from being the target, of these people abusing you and your children.